Good.
No,
Get on
it's
your
getting
way.
late.
Yeah.
It's getting late. I gotta. Oh wow! Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Right. It's like, thank you
God
again, Boo.
I gotta get up.
That'll do it.
Right.
Yeah. You ain't got to worry about me. You ain't got to worry about me. Yep.
Irrigator.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to shut this off.
I said, Auntie, look.
Close it.
How about
Right. Be like all frozen.
Hey, aunties, this is Corey Craig. What's brewing today?
DJ Corey Craig.
Beyonce broke our souls.
And Drake album is just fine. So get your cups ready for Minority Report.
Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Carell.
It's Auntie Dwan.
And it's Auntie Jarrell.
Yeah, with the porn stash. I see you, boo.
Back in the house.
She said, I'm going to be back with the porn. I know that's right. And we missed you last week, by the way.
Look, y'all, they be working me. Okay, they be working me. I've been putting in some overtime, but I still love my job. I actually love it so much.
Yeah,
and I wake up and I'm actually excited to go into the office. And I just celebrated my 6 months too. And it's
That's good.
We're still there. We passed that 90-day review, so I'm doing something right.
Nice. And then community. We have another special, amazing guest this week. I'm very excited because, again, this month, obviously, we're closing out Gay Pride Month, and also we're closing out Black Music Month. So we have with us DJ Corey Craig. But before we forget this week, because we always be forgetting, what's your auntie name?
My auntie name is Shiraz, Auntie Shiraz, because I love Australian wine. And that's basically all I drink when I'm in Australia because they pour drinks.
Y'all. That's a stunt.
It's not really a stunt. The stunt
is a stunt when it's real. No, it's not a stunt because they measure every drop of alcohol at every bar. So Americans are like, I got to order triple just to get a drink. So it's easier to go to a bar, order a bottle of wine, and go from there and just call it good. Okay, now wait, is it a white wine or a red wine?
It's a red wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got Auntie Chardonnay and Auntie Shiraz on the same episode, the Wine Club.
There's gonna be some elegance today.
That should be another.
I have something to say about it.
But for community, for your sake, Corey's a 16-year-old veteran. In the New York club scene, so you might have heard him out and about while you're out and about in New York City, including the Eagles. So you might be out there, doing some thing of things, and getting your little dance on at the same time.
People are very good. They're very good at multitasking.
Oof.
Let's just put it that way.
Do people actually request certain songs at the Eagle?
No, that's one of the reasons I like it is because they are. We try to keep it tech house and disco and vocals to a certain level depending on the day. As the night goes on, you might play fewer and fewer vocals because people are trying to talk to each other and get phone numbers and make sure not both bottoms before they go home. And talk to each other. I know, conversation.
Can talk to you.
I have had people use the phone. Now, if Tevin Campbell shows up at the Eagle, I'm calling you. I'm calling y'all.
Can we talk for a minute?
Might have been there.
I last longer than a minute, okay? So we're gonna be talking for a minute, okay?
Yeah. So no, not really. I mean, there have been people that will hold up. People that aren't used to coming to Eagle that will hold up one of the signs that they make on their phone.
Oh, okay.
And I just.
I can't read. I can't see.
I can't. Yeah, I can't see that. Nope.
So go ahead.
Ain't that why people got these You can play whatever you want on these.
Oh,
Pull them out your pocket.
Okay, so
I mean that would be my response. Let's put it that
okay.
way.
So that we are on the same frequency, because what I used to do is I would whenever I was flying somewhere, they would hand out the free complimentary headphones. And I would take just give me two of them, and I'd keep them in my DJ bag. And so invariably, before I would work at the Eagle, wherever else I was, someone would come and request something, and I would go, "Do you have it on your phone?" And they would perk up thinking I'm going to plug in their phone to play Hello. Like, no. So I'm like, "Oh my God, do you have it on your phone?"
Hello.
And they're like, "Yeah, I have it on my phone." I'm like, "Well, here's some headphones. There's a quarter.
I know,
work it out."
Right.
And you know what? They don't know whether to say thank you or fuck you, because you did solve the problem.
It's like, I bet this sound real good coming from your phone.
Not
this
Auntie
is
Sharaj
kind of like
bag of tricks.
Right. Or the other one that, since you say bag of tricks, that should be my drag name. But the other one would be if I played anything from a Latin artist just because I wanted to. Here comes somebody asking for, are you going to play salsa tonight? Do you have any salsa? Here's some Taco Bell. Work it out.
Okay.
I'm evil. I know it. I'm evil.
Girl,
He be having the mild.
Now you on my frequency, okay?
Okay,
but the mild sauce
what's
packs
funny
and the hot
is
sauce and to say no.
the same people, the people that I give the headphones or the salsa to, they have the same confused look on their face. Like, I mean, okay. And so the funniest, it's not even funny to see them use the headphones or take them from me, because they do. It's the woman that puts the hot sauce in her bag. Like, I'm mad, but when I leave here, I'm going somewhere and I might need this.
Right.
Okay, Hillary. Hillary Clinton.
That'd be kind of fire though, to DJ at the Eagle though, because it'd be like, hey, you're DJing, you're doing what you love, but then also you might just see, hey, who am I taking home at the end of the night?
Oh no. Let me shut that down right now. You know what? Everybody has that concept that we just pick 20 people throughout the night and go, wait for me. I don't want anybody who has been there from open to close.
You right on that.
They have been drinking. They have been drinking since they got. They've been drinking since before they got there.
Yeah.
And they're toe up. And there's probably a reason they haven't gone home with somebody.
Ooh.
So I don't want.
Right.
There's probably a reason. I mean,
Right.
maybe they did what they need to do at the bar, and I don't.
They've been drinking multiple ways.
I mean, but it makes sense though. If they did what they were supposed to do, then they would have went home already with someone. So,
right.
I mean,
and if you were that interested, you would recognize that I'm working.
Yeah.
You don't go up to the pilot of a plane and go, let's do something. You say, if you're interested, you get a number. People will
buy you a drink or something. Like how you
there. That
having a good night at work.
Right.
Like, yeah.
There have been a few occasions where people have found me on Scruff, and they've said, "Oh, we should hang out. We should have drinks when you're not working." Da, da, da. And that's all like cool. That's another place where people do request shit. But yeah.
It's like next time you're at the Eagle, make sure you play Beyonce, "Break My Soul," "Break My Hole."
Well, as we change the name of it, "Break My Hole," that'll be the Eagle remix.
Okay, it will be.
Somebody's already working on it. Somebody's already working on it.
But so audacity.
Yeah. And I'm like, you could at least unlock your pictures to make me decide if I want to play your song.
That's a whole word. You're right. It's like unlock your picks for a song.
Right. Because you're gonna dance to it with somebody else, and that's probably who you're going home with. So at least I got a little postcard from everything.
Right.
So
I would respond with my Venmo being like, "Here you go. This is where I take my tips at."
That's next. That's next. There was a woman in Austin that actually had her QR code tattooed on her arm. And
for the dedication.
I'm like, don't lose weight, because that QR code will be different.
What?
You know what?
Go home, Roger. Go home.
Go home.
Go
home, Roger.
This is the auntiest conversation we have had in a really long time. I'm dying.
Oh my
I don't have
God.
to say anything.
Right.
Sorry, you done took the crown. Go
Sorry,
ahead, girl.
it's the
Oh,
Oprah
great.
takeover. The Oprah takeover.
Oh my God.
Look, I'm just gonna sit here and eat these grapes.
I know that's right. Well, Core, how did you get into DJing? Were you always like into DJ or into music? Were you like playing music as a kid?
Well, yeah, basically, like my mom is the oldest of 8, and she had me fairly young. So I grew up with all my aunts and uncles in the 70s, and there was always music playing, always. And they would I'm probably completely dating myself by saying this, but my nickname when I was a kid was Victor, and that's the little I don't know what he is. It's the little dog. If you look at RCA Victor, that logo,
Yes.
there was always that dog that was looking into the speaker.
Yeah.
Well, I was the kid that was staring at the label on the vinyl, trying to read it and learn and read, and then reading the liner notes and reading. So I always had interest in music. I wasn't really good at it at playing band in school, but I loved it. So by the time I got to be 13 years old, I would go to my grandmother's house after school, and my uncle had turntables set up, and he would let me play with them, and I would learn that way, or I'd make mixtapes. Then high school came along, I kind of left it alone. And then college came along, and I wanted to make sure we had good music at our fraternity party. So I ended up being in charge of the music. And I would, burn. It wasn't burn CDs then. It was, I guess, make tapes or whatever we did back then.
That
Probably,
mixtape.
I mean, I'm 11. I'm 11, so it was probably reel to reel.
What?
Black don't crack though.
11. It don't. 11. So yeah, I would do that, and then after college, I would, I moved to Dallas from Oklahoma City, and I started burning CDs and making mixtapes for my friends, and people would, you should really try to do this. And I just didn't feel like it was fertile ground to do it in Dallas. But then when I moved to New York, I, got grounded in what I was doing. I'm a pharmacist. I don't think that's not obviously in my DJ profile, but I'm also a pharmacist. So I moved here to be a pharmacist, a nuclear pharmacist. I make radioactive drugs. I'm a nerd. I'm Sherman Klump.
Okay, come on, Professor.
Hercules,
so I moved here to do.
Hercules. Hey.
So I moved here to do that. And then I kind of circled back to it. I was like, okay, I was already coming to all the clubs in New York when I lived in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Well, I already know my way around. I've already made friends with all the door bitches, so I can go to any of these clubs and start interfacing with the promoters and things like that. So I started from the ground up. I burned CDs. There was a gay restaurant in Chelsea that I would give them the CDs. They had a CD magazine. You remember those?
Yeah, man.
They had a CD magazine that they would put all of my podcasts. This is before podcasts, obviously, but they put all my mixed CDs in there, and they would just play them. That was their music for the restaurant. And wow. people would hear like my little sign-on thing or whatever, and they would, oh my God, and they would call me and say they're playing your podcast, like they're tattling on them. I'm like, I gave it to them to play. It's fine. And then podcasts came along, and they started downloading them, and then and then I think the real kickoff was I tried to audition for the Ellen DeGeneres show to be her DJ. So I filmed up my audition video, and I burned CDs, and what I did was I bribed people to be in my audition video by giving them a CD. So call this divine intervention. Ellen picked somebody. I don't think she saw my audition video, but a lot of people that I end up giving the CD to worked in nightlife, and they did go home and listen to it, and they found me, and they were like, okay, we listened to that CD and it was good. Have you ever been to Fire? And that's what happened. I ended up going to Fire Island, ended up getting the closing set for New York City Pride that year in 2009. Oh my God, that is so long ago. And then I went to Sydney and Sydney Mardi Gras, and I met up with people there, and then they started inviting me back every year. So music has always been, I've always been surrounded by it. I've always been immersed in it. And it's just, and we listen to everything. We listen to the Jay Giles band, it's like the old, like Hall and Oates. Like we listened to everything. It was Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma. So we listened to everything. Yeah. So I have a mental library of a lot of different sounds. and I just grew up with different generations of music.
Love
So
it. Love it.
What's your favorite like memory as a DJ? Like what thing just like stands out in your mind is like this is what I live for.
I will say it's a tie between the closing set at New York City Pride in 2009, which was, I think, the next to last year they did it at the original pier, and looking out and
The
seeing
Chelsea
that
Pier.
at the Chelsea Pier, and looking out and seeing that I had talked to a marketing company, about designing my logo, and I bartered with them. I told them I would DJ their Christmas party for 2 years if they came up with my logo, my font, all this stuff. And they did. And they did a really good package. And they look out to come from behind the stage, from behind the booth, and look out and see all these people and my logo up there.
Yeah.
And they're pointing at it. And the logo is, I want to revisit it because it's my silhouette with headphones. And people say they can tell it's me.
Okay.
I don't see it, but they say it. So that was no. Yeah, my lips all.
I had to get one in.
That's fine.
She was taking them all.
It depends on where it's being used, but so that was surreal, and then fast forward to, I think, 2016, I ended up doing one of the main set for Sydney Mardi Gras. That was 13,000 people, and I had no concept of what that was going to feel like until I did it. I actually didn't even know until I was with my friends, and they were like, "What time are you going on? And what room are you in?" I said, "Oh, I'm going on at midnight,"
Yeah.
And they gasped. They're like, "Do you realize you're like the prime time set for that pavilion for Mardi Gras? You're a headliner. You need to step it up."
You're winning, baby. You're a winner.
So yeah. So those two moments.
What was the song you started that night out with? Do you remember?
With Sydney Mardi Gras?
Yeah.
Well, that was the year. That was right after we lost. Well, I won't say we lost Obama. He's not dead, but right after the Obama administration was over.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you remember that for Black History Month that year, he said, it's Black History Month when you hear somebody say, "Hey, Michelle, girl, you look good." It was Obama saying that.
Uh-huh.
So I used that as the opening line, and then I broke into Vogue. And it was a very slick version of Vogue. And then my logo pops up, and I have all these friends that still to this day will send me, on the date of that day in Sydney, they will send me the video of that. Remember this? Oh. So yeah. I've learned about that was a really good lesson about. I probably wouldn't have done that if someone hadn't explained how important that time frame was. I was just like, I'm just gonna play music at midnight. You guys will still be out somewhere else. They're like, no, we'll be there by midnight.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there something you would have told that you would tell younger you that was just getting started that you know now that you wish you would have known back then?
Don't be afraid to speak up for your worth.
Mm-hmm.
Because people will be your best friend. They want your friends and family rate for when they want you to DJ. And I can't write on my Con Edison bill that I just spun. I won't say the name of the party because that'll give away who's cheap.
Say their names.
They know who they are.
Listen,
let's put it this way. It really does narrow it down, but I doubt any of these promoters are paying attention to my black ass right now. So I could say it, but I won't. So never be afraid to speak up. Know your worth, and wait for people who can afford you. It's okay. But I have to say that I have the luxury of still being a pharmacist. I'm in that weird area where I'm fine. If I took the whole month off from the Eagle, I was like, I really don't want to, I'm prided out. I don't want to do, I can be proud quietly.
Girl,
I love that. Okay, now I can be proud quietly.
Do you know how much money you save by being proud quietly?
That's a whole ass word.
And that's what I did. So and then I just got a new manager. His name is Luther Totson. I've just started with him. And that's another thing. Don't be afraid to let someone else take care of it. If you get to a point where you can't handle the booking and negotiating and doing the contract, let somebody that does that for you. They're worth a percentage. And so I had to learn to stop being a control freak, because I did so much of my own self-management and just being, what I was comfortable with was because I was leaning on being a pharmacist and going, oh, well, the DJ stuff is a career for me, but it's not my number one source of income. So now I'm like, oh no, if it's not making dollars, it's not making sense. So I'm going to let people speak up for what I'm worth. And I've done that ever since, and it's paid off. And the gigs that can't afford me, I'm like, you get what you pay for, and their budget is probably beneath what I would want to work. So yeah,
how
it
do
is what it is.
How do you navigate the DJ world? Because especially the big names we see out there is predominantly white men. And folks don't really realize there's some very talented black folks that are killing it out there, but they might not be wanting to spend the coin, like, and making them worth what they are worth. How do you navigate that world and still enjoy it at that too?
I've learned to, if I get a whiff of the fact that someone is trying to minimize my value, I remind them that you came to me. I didn't come to you and say, hey, can I do your party? You came to me. And don't think for a second that DJs don't talk. We talk. We talk about what you guys pay us, and we make sure that we're getting paid what we're worth. We talk. And I may be able to tell somebody, another brother out there, that, well, that's what they pay, or this is this, that, and the other, and it helps them speak up for themselves. The way I navigate it is, unfortunately in this world, there are a lot of DJs that are making the top dollar, but it's because of the ticket prices, and then those promoters have the budget to give them that. Whereas, a lot of us aren't going to go. I'm not spending $100 to listen to Shoes in the Dryer. I'm not doing it.
It's the visual and the audio for me, okay?
I'm not. So what the way I've reconciled it is, if someone is, it has to be a two-pronged approach. You're willing to book black DJs, and you're willing to pay us what we're worth. There are people out there that will do it. And those are the people that I look forward to working with. And even if it's not a regular routine, I have a residency with so-and-so, like I go out to Fire Island, I do the underwear party, and I have a really good relationship with that promoter, because he pays and he doesn't flinch about what we're worth. He surprised me with a raise, and you have musical license to play what you want. Like, oh, me and you must never part, because no, because the other ones won't. They want to pay you the bare minimum and then think that, oh, well, it's such good exposure. I'm like, well, I'm not film. I don't need exposure. I need to be paid what I'm worth.
It's like, my name is not Kodak. Thank you very much.
I'm not film. And the only exposure some of these parties are the people that are pretty much in nothing but a jockstrap, and that's not exposure to me. They're exposing themselves to me, but that's not the same. So,
you mentioned something about like being able to play your own choice of music, and I'm very curious. When you have those opportunities, and you're thinking about putting together, you're actually actively putting together your set, what are some of the arrangements that give you your life, that you just really get into, that really inspire you, or that are like signatures of your brand?
Well, anytime I can sneak a remix of an old 80s classic or old house classic in, where it's so well done that you have no idea that bitch was about to sing to you. That's what I live for. I live for those shock. The way I came up. Ooh, that's it. Yes. The way I came up in the DJ world was in the 90s, where you had to go to these clubs to hear Junior Vasquez's remix of Madonna. It wasn't on Spotify. It wasn't on. I mean, you could spend.
Call me in Miami.
Right. You could spend a whole day trying to download it off of Napster, but it's not going to be the same. It's like, so the clubs back then were the destination. If Junior was playing or Frankie was playing, you knew that they were either going to do something live, or they
Yeah.
just dropped it, or they just sent that remix off to the label, and they're the only one that has it. And then you would leave and say, "Oh, Junior just played his remix of this or that," and you felt special about it. So the only way I can duplicate that is if I do the research and find not the same remix that everybody's playing, not, you know, not the same. The sound that my sound is signature because I do find things that aren't what people expect.
Yeah.
You know, or that's what, and then that ties into me starting to do production again, because I let the pandemic force me to get back into production and stop being afraid to release my own stuff, and that's kind of where I am now. So when it comes to that creative license, it's about song choice. It's about not being afraid to play the Clark Sisters, "You Brought the Sunshine," and there's a house mix of that. There's a house mix of that that just if there were tambourines in the club, they would be working overtime.
Come on now,
that kind of
you
stuff.
speaking my language now. Tambourines and the Clark Sisters.
Right. Well, yeah.
And a club.
Right.
With boys
so
with straps.
That okay. Well, and there's a. But I will say there's an awkward story about those two things, those two worlds colliding. There's one time I was playing at the underwear party, and I was in the middle of my, little 45-minute gospel set, and I played this group called Jasper Street Company, and they had a song called "Praying for You," but all they said in the song was "on my knees, yes, on my knees."
Oh Lord. and the crowd was going crazy.
More ways than one.
Amen.
Yes, man.
Yes, man.
I literally had someone come to DJ booth and they said to me, I was getting the glizzy gobbled, and you put this song on, and we both laughed, and I just ruined it. I just ruined it.
I'm sorry, Lord. I'm sorry, but this is going ham in the club. Jesus.
I didn't mean to take them out. I didn't mean to take them out of the moment, and that's happened a couple of times where I'm just in my element. I'm having a flow moment, and I'll put something on that you didn't know that Kim Petras did a remix of running up, whatever she calls it, running up that hill, taking that pill, whatever it's called. And they come running. They just come running like, what is this? What is this? I need to know what this is. So that's that feeling that I used to have when I went out before I moved here was, I need to know what this is. If I had Shazam back then, I would be unstoppable.
That's one thing. Like I love music. I'm not to y'all level. Like I know a bunch of songs and remixes and stuff like that. But when I hear something that moves me,
Anita Baker was.
Is that another drag queen? No kidding.
So you need a baker for what you need a baker.
Well, apparently we're going back to having to make our own cakes for weddings. So
I mean, but no, seriously though, like when I hear a song that a DJ is playing that just moves me, I am so quick to go and tip them or Shazam the song. And I am one of those few people who I will hear, I'll be listening to the DJ play the music and I'm like, oh, that was a hard transition. That was not good.
There's nothing worse than make your penis soft.
It will pull me right out of it. But then when you hear a smooth transition, you're like, oh, bitch, I didn't see that coming. Or you know the song is coming before the rest of the people know, you're like, oh, bitch, here it comes.
Right. That's it. That right there was the feeling that people, that's what made us want, that's what two things. It made us want to go out, and it made the gay nightlife back then. What it was a destination. I saw Destiny's Child at the fucking Roxy. Because back then we were the bellwether. We were where people went to say, we want the gays to talk about our music so everybody else knows about it.
Roxy was it.
It was it. So the only way you can kind of replicate that feeling now is to stay familiar with, keep listening to the dance channels, and maybe you'll hear one of the dance songs, and you'll be able to appreciate how we transition it in. You'll know it. You'll know it's Purple Disco Machine, but you like the way that we mix them together.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with
DJs. Support, get out and obviously COVID has kind of hindered us a little bit here in the last few years, but get out and support DJs. They need coins too, and they're playing all the shit that you hearing. If they get good enough, the radio gonna find these DJs and like be
Right.
like, oh damn, well Beyonce wants to work with this DJ and so wants to work with this DJ. Like they are moving the needle as well. Like you know, so support
we're still out there trying. I won't say all of us are, but I will say there's a good number of people that are trying to educate and introduce you to the what's next. And then they come back, and these people come back 6 months later going, I remember when you played this song the first time. Yeah. And you know, people, that's part of the memories that we try to hold on to when we go out. It's not always who you took home, but some people that's their goal. But there are other people that like, I listened to your set from this time to this time and I just had a good time. And that's what makes it so rewarding. Even if I'm having one of those stressed out nights where I can't really get into it, or I'm kind of pulled out of the moment, someone will come up and give me that feedback, and it makes it all worthwhile. I did. But if one person is happy about what I did, then I did my job.
1000%. Have you moved to digital, or are you still like I like the feel of records?
Well, no. This computer is literally sitting on the box of the new decks that I got last week.
Yeah. And
it's all one piece. The CD decks are there, the mixer is here, and it's basically my coffee table. Like I don't have a coffee table because I have what I call the spaceship right here.
Yeah.
So no, I used to be a laptop DJ. I used to use Tractor, and a lot of people still use it. And one time I was in Sydney and I was setting up after this one person that was DJing, and I was jealous. I was like, this guy just shows up with 2 USB sticks in his headphones, and boop, he's ready to go. I got to rewire the whole cord over here, get a laptop stand. No shade against laptop DJs. I did that for a long time. But something about, for me, not hiding it behind that computer screen and being able to see what people are doing and see their reaction when they realize what the song is and see them smile and see people, you know, it changed me. It changed. When I did that, I said, okay, I see what I'm missing. And I think in some ways, the DJ booth being somewhere kind of clandestine was appealing to me, because a lot of us are shy. A lot of us aren't gregarious, outgoing people. The way we express ourselves in the nightclub is by playing the music. You know, we're not out there crowd surfing and throwing cake all the time. We're in our zone, and that's our safety zone. That's like our safety net. So moving the computer out of the way and making sure I can see people definitely changed how I spend, and I just going back to digital, like the USBs, and I can show up with my little purple velvet fanny pack with everything in it, and keep it moving.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I was at a Mariners baseball game last Friday, and they had a DJ, and he was playing like Juvenile, playing Little Kim, like playing Beyonce, Destiny's Child. And literally for the whole first hour and a half of that game, my black ass stood right there by that DJ. I didn't see none of the damn field. I watched the game from a damn TV screen.
I know that's right.
The DJ was I was like, look, I paid this money, but I'm here for this DJ, not this baseball game. But I think there's something about like hearing music and a good DJ that just pulls you in, that can really change the atmosphere of any place.
Right. That's one thing. It's kind of, people think it's corny to say, but it is the one thing that brings people together. Like I could completely hate your guts, and then we both end up liking the same song. We may still disagree about things, but
you might get an A out of me.
Right.
You get a head nod. You get like a
right.
Okay. A.
Yeah.
Hey, I see you.
Yeah.
There's like, I definitely feel like there's two camps when it comes to DJs. It's, the DJ that plays for the crowd, and then the DJs that play for themselves. And, meaning like they play themselves and the crowds are to see them, so it's like what's the DJ that wears the mouse?
Marshmallow.
That.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
That's some auntie stuff. Y'all look.
But I mean, honestly, his pronoun should be that.
Ooh.
That.
Ooh.
And I was in we going to hell, and I love it. I love that.
Honey, I have already picked out the vodka and the wine for my VIP seating. Yes. So
I ain't trying to go.
Stop by my table.
look, hell's gonna be lit. So
literally,
we may not. We actually,
literally,
we may not actually be. We may not. We may be there now and don't know it.
Hey,
look, you right.
Enjoying it. But I was in Providence, Rhode Island this past weekend for their Pride Fest, and we were just sitting at dinner, and there was a DJ that was playing, and this DJ was fucking it up, and he was playing such good music, and he was also, you know, and I'm sure Corey, you can just attest, when the music is so goddamn good that you didn't put together, that you having a good time, and you may be the only person that just is feeling it, but it's just coming through. This is what was happening with this guy, and I'm sitting over here having dinner with my friends and looking at all these people that are just not paying this DJ and I had to stop eating. I had to get up out of my chair and tip that guy like $40 because he was fucking it up. Yeah. And he was having a good time. And that's like, I'm part of that old school. I'm part of the Junior Vasquez. I'm part of the Roosevelts. I'm part of like the you know, like I'm part of that crew. So I'm used to like DJs playing music that they also enjoy, but they're playing to the crowd to get that crowd like that energy. Yeah. Those 20-minute intros that you don't quite know what the song is. If you're really good, you might be able to figure it out. But as soon as that key change,
bitch,
well, think about it. The formula for remixes has changed so much because we're in think about it. We're in an era where it's all about how many songs the streaming services can cram into an hour. Mm-hmm. So we grew up with 8-minute, remixes where you could go get a drink.
Honey. You'd be like, oh, damn, the song's still kicking. Okay, shit.
Okay. Deborah Cox is backstage. Deborah Cox, well, if that's what you need to do. But Deborah Cox could be like clearing her throat, figuring out her outfit. She's got 4 good minutes before she has to start singing. And nowadays it's, 2 bars, vocal, instrumental, 1 bar. Please wrap it up in 2.5 minutes.
And that's why we'll get to it. That's why I enjoyed this Beyonce song. I'm like, when's the last?
I was just about to say.
4 minute.
I was about to say it.
39-second.
And they're not
song. That's a bop.
and they're not calling it the extended mix or the VIP mix.
I'm like, these Gen Zs don't know. Yeah. This was the norm, honey. This was the norm.
Right. Here's what's gonna happen. Here's what I think's gonna happen. Is by the time it hits terrestrial radio, if we're ever listening to it in a car on the regular radio or Kiss FM, it'll probably just be a 2-minute radio edit.
It'll be a radio.
It'll be a radio edit, and it'll be like I said, 2.5 minutes.
They won't give us that last little 40 seconds at the end, which is everything.
That moment, I was like, damn, it's done, and I was like, oh, came back. I was like,
the beat came back. The beat came back, bitch.
You're only gonna get the beat for 1 cycle in the radio,
It bothered the shit out of me.
And that was what brought me into, it lured me into DJing. Was I liked that structure where this drum kit from this song is playing with this drum kit from this song, and they complement each other. The Deborah Cox, Nobody's Supposed to Be Here drums, those if you're half asleep and in a coma, them. But now we're like, okay, Hairpin played a song, people recognize it, they don't have the attention span for it. I've submitted remixes where it was 3 minutes and I'm like, oh my God, this is so long, is this extended? I'm like, no. At least give us the DJ something to use,
Summer song's been 40 minutes long.
Honey.
We used to, and
when
it was on vinyl, that was
to love you, baby.
For a good 23 minutes.
When they were on vinyl, it was just 1 song on the vinyl. Yep. On one side, there was 1 song. And we used to, no tea, no shade, but we used to say, if you really, really, really get in a rut and you have to go to the bathroom, just get one of those good old Tracy Young remixes, because they'll at least give you 15 minutes.
I'm throwing this.
You can go boo boo. You can go boo boo.
You can pay your taxes. Pay your taxes.
Like, shit, it's like I don't wear boo boo. Took a shower, came back.
Then drove to LA, came back to the East Coast.
Got on my MapQuest, got some MapQuest dick, and
Right.
came back.
Had a couple of kids.
Right.
Okay, before we get to Beyonce, there's a couple like we did this last week and then it seemed like it went over well. So we couple little curiosity, quick little questions, just to give the first thing that pops in your brain.
Oh.
Best song to get the party started. That you know is just the cheat code.
For cheat code, I would probably say the David Morales remix of Fantasy.
Ooh,
because she used to go, and this is God, I feel like somebody's grandfather telling people about the good old days. But Mariah used to go back in the studio and re-record for the dance mix.
Yes.
It wasn't just here, use my vocals from the radio edit. She would go back in it, all new arrangement, and
ad libs.
Right. Come on, background.
So the David Morales Fantasy remix, because it would slow down into the original with that Tom Tom Club sample.
Club. And this is before Little or whatever Lotto did it.
Right. But the reason I say it gets the party started now is because the younger crowd that knows Lotto and the older crowd that knows the original are all there together going, they all know it. And they're like, why do you know this? Why do you know this? So that something like that, or that's what I would say.
Best song to end the night with.
I'm kind of goofy here. I'll put it this way. The underwear parties have been going until like the bitter end lately, like till 4 a.m, where we're like, get out, go to the meat rack, do what you need to do. So you got to pull people out of the moment. So I'll play the theme from Law and Order. I'll play.
It goes from oons to.
Right. Or what I did last week was I played. It just crept up on him. I played the theme song from Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, but that would have been a pop. I would have been lying in the sky.
But if I don't want to be that goofy, you just slow it down. You play like a slower, something slower by Donna Summer, or just something slower that like lets people know.
Like the original version.
The original, yeah. The ballad.
Right.
Play the ballad. Yeah. Or take a bow's another good one. Madonna Take a Bow's another good one, because when it says
Babyface wrote the shit out that song.
Yeah, but if you in the club at 4 a.m, that's the last thing you want to hear. Good Lord.
I'd be in there singing the backgrounds and everything.
Well, it works. If you want people to scatter, and then what I do is that when it gets to the lineup, the show is over, say goodbye. I just keep looping, say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Bye, girl. The remix you thought
eventually they get it.
Oh, sorry. The remix you wish you thought of.
This is back when Russell and James, I mean the Freemasons were doing like everything. They were remixing the phone book. Green Light, Beyonce's Green Light. Just that I can't even explain it.
Yeah.
It's the key they use, the key arrangement they use. It's just happy.
Yeah.
I miss those days. I'm starting to slowly bring some of that back, because that was just a bright and happy time, and we need it back.
I hear you.
That's one of my favorite Beyonce songs, by the way. I love Green Light.
Green Miss Go! Yeah, she was singing the shit out that song. Let's see here. Your favorite venue you've played?
Wow. I have to say now, just because I just did it for Sydney Mardi Gras, the Ivy in Sydney, because it's so many things. There's a pool, there's this nightclub, there's so many spaces within that. It's its own little city. Okay. And there's a party called Poof Doof that I really want them to come to the US. It would take a lot for them to do it, but I just love how they the video screens, the way it's laid out, yeah. And that could easily change if I do something like if a new club pops up and it's really they really thought out the layout.
Yeah.
But the Ivy is like one of my favorites.
Okay. And we'll do this one. Beyonce or Janet?
Oh, this is tough. I would say Janet, just because I grew up with her on Good Times and Fame, and I grew up with her. I didn't grow up with Beyonce. Beyonce was like 10 years later.
Yeah.
So I have a different history with Janet than I do Beyonce.
Okay.
Love them both, but
there's no wrong answer on it.
Yeah. Well, I don't want the Beehive coming after me like, how dare you?
And we part of it, like Jarrell trying to get the vice president. So.
No. Well, I gave the kids a good meme today, so I think I've redeemed myself. Yeah.
So Beyonce, and this might take up the rest of this damn episode, so we might not even get to Ask Your Aunties community. So if you're waiting for an Ask Your Aunties, we'll see. Beyonce. I don't even know where to begin, honestly, because this woman to me is just so brilliant at knowing what to do and when. Like, she just knows when and how to reinvent. She knows, it's just too much for my brain to handle how strategic she is and how good she is at implementing. Not every big star nowadays cares about implementing like the game plan. Yeah. Like, they get too big, they get too much money, and after all, they're like, okay, the passion maybe or whatever is gone slightly, and they're like, you know what, I like recording, but it is what it is. This woman, every damn time, and you feel it. It's palpable at how much she cares, how much she's enjoying it, how much money she's spending to make sure she's getting the right writers, the right producers, all the above, and making sure she's rolling it out the way that she wants to, and that it's like to a T. Let's just start there before even the fucking music.
It's just crazy to see that she, like, no two albums are alike. And that's and you can tell that she is truly gifted. And people want to get on her about, oh, well, she don't write her music, she don't do this, she don't do this. But she has the vision of it, and she has the smartness to put the right people around her to make sure that her execution is exactly the vision that you see. So although there may be a lot of people who get credits behind the scenes, but she put them into the places to make sure that it delivered what needed to be delivered.
Period.
Right. Well, that was what I was going to say, is that one person can't do it alone. You have to have the right team around you, and you have to have people that are willing to give you pushback if you need it, or let you know that this may take a little more time than you expect. Hello, Adele. I mean, let's talk about
that's a
Vegas fell apart because they tried to do too much in a short period of time. And Beyonce's not going to put anything out until she's ready. Yeah. And so she's not like Sade, where, a whole kid is born and gone to college before the next album.
Generation.
So, but truth be told, as soon as Sade releases it, we're there with her. If she releases something.
Facts.
So we respect the time. If you take the time to do it right, we will respect it. And we know that 6 years is not going to go by and she's not going to put out Gatorade, well, this is the sequel to Lemonade, it's not what we're gonna get.
No, that's true. And honestly, she's done music the last 6 years. Like, she gave us a whole visual Lion King and shit. Like, I don't know how she's still reinventing herself, because she's still giving us fucking shit.
And didn't
outside of an album
come after Lemonade as well too. So she even has that album with her husband too. So she's been giving us music, but we finally get her back, which is just amazing to see. And the thing that I love about her timing right now too is that I feel like this is something that has been really missing right now. I feel like so much of the music that we're hearing from a lot of the new artists is the same stuff they did their freshman album, or the same thing they did this. They found a pocket or their little niche and they just stay in this one lane. And I love seeing artists who be like, I am a musician. I am not just this. And that's kind of one of the things that I liked about Doja Cat, is you be like, where the fuck did you put her? And it's something like Beyonce, like the moment you think you can put Beyonce in the box, she's like, well, bitch, actually, let me hit you with this.
But I think we've all learned not to do that with her. Like
the only people that
put her in a box are the same people that don't care what's on the radio. There's the people that tomorrow will be like, did Beyonce put out something new? They're not even paying attention. So those are the people that when you say Beyonce to those people, all they're going to remember is Single Ladies, and they're going to do the dance. And those are the people. Yeah. The rest of us know better than to assume, Madonna's another one that's really good at reinventing herself, and she takes the time to do it.
I don't like this new reinvention though.
You'll have to bring me back for that. Anyway, Beyonce Gazelle Knowles Carter. She has us trained to expect and respect that we're not going to get more of the same. She may use the same writers, but I'll tell you what, if she uses Ryan Tedder now, it's not going to sound like Halo. It's going to be
Tricky and Dream
else.
Did Break My Soul, and they did Single Ladies and Umbrella and Obsessed by Mariah. So like, it don't sound like any of their other shit.
And they spend the time making sure a song is crafted for who they want it to be for. There may be times that you hear, like when you find out that Toxic by Britney was really written for Kylie Minogue, or there were songs that Sia did that were written for Rihanna, and you're like, I can't imagine that person singing this other than besides Sia. Those happen, but when someone like when I think when she assembles a team of producers and writers, and they know this is just as well as we know that she wants something different. She doesn't want another green light. She doesn't want another freakum dress. That was who she was then. That was who she was then. And if you go back to the video of Freakum Dress, that was the first time I think she gave us a pride flag, because she was in all the colors in that video. Yeah.
But now, we community episode 171, go back. We talked about how it's going to be house music and how we were already freaking out 5 weeks ago that if she did a house song, like, we can't take it.
And I'm so glad you posted that. I'm so glad you posted that clip. Hell yeah, that made me feel good. I was like,
I got you, boo.
Look, I was like, you know what? I was like, I be telling people my next tattoo gonna be of a beehive. And look, let me tell you, I renew my membership every damn year, even if she don't put out music.
This song dropped, and you know I love me a background. You know I love me an ad lib. There's so much that like is in the background of this damn song. Go ahead.
There's a lot. There's a lot of. It's very well layered.
Go Dua.
I mean, I'm in awe of y'all's conversation. I'm just over here sitting here. I might as well be eating my grapes. I just wanted to just acknowledge that one of the things I really appreciate about Beyonce's music is very celebratory of Black culture, and it highlights so many aspects of like the different kinds of experiences of Black culture, from our Houston, Texas roots to, tropes about, our hair and skin color and having so much pride in being Black. And as I think about, this being Black music month, right? And also pride, it's amazing to me that, that again, she comes out with another, in a sense, anthem that is about celebrating who you are, and to Cordy, even use your words, to knowing your worth, and not settling for things that are less than what you are worth, and so
the great resignation.
Yes, that literally,
because and that's just to follow through on what you're saying. Part of her reinvention is also acknowledging the world's reinvention after the pandemic, because people are like, fuck that job. I don't need to be here. I need to like being here. I don't, the culture of going somewhere because you have to work is gone. That's gone.
It's dead.
If you want me to stay somewhere for 11,000 years, I better like coming to work every day. And that's fair. You only get one life. And trust and believe, when I tell you, as a pharmacist who wasn't off during the pandemic, the change in people, the fact that people left the medical professions because they were like, this is what my parents wanted me to do. I didn't want to do this. And they were like, after that pandemic, they were like, I survived this for a reason. I did not survive this to keep doing what other people want me to do. I survived this to do and be as happy as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Great Resignation is here, and so you're right. You're right on the
9 to 5 anthem. The new Dolly Parton.
9 to 5. Yeah.
And here's the cool thing.
10 to 3.
Right to honey. Monday to Thursday.
From home. From
a hot desk. We got a hot desk, and I'm working from home.
And here's the cool thing. Like, this is why. Oh God, I could talk about. I could nerd out on this song on so many levels. But like, I love this song so much because outside of just the norm and things like that, she's found the perfect song to give white folks that have like the blackity black Beyonce the last decade. The guy gave them a poppy song again, but they don't even realize it's like the blackest fucking song that she might have ever released. Like, and that's why I'm like, this is so fucking brilliant.
I get it. I get what you're saying, because she goes, okay, let's give this group of people that Show Me Love sample, which I really can't hear, but okay, fine.
It's not a Show Me Love sample. They use the same
it's the synths. The synths.
Keyboard. I had that
right.
keyboard.
I'll give them that. So on one hand, she's serving that to this crowd. On the other hand, she's giving the Big Freedia screaming and hollering in the background. And then you have the ballroom culture there. So she found the magic formula to try that puts it all together. You know,
and House is rooted in Black and Latino gay men out of Chicago.
Right.
Like it was not made for straight people. It was not made for white people. To be all the way Frankie Knuckles. There we go. You know, the pun of words. Because he's the one, and he said it. He said, y'all did not see us. Y'all did not want us anywhere. Right. So we created our own scene, our own environment, our own music. And of course, here we are, appropriated, but now we are bringing it back.
Here we are in 2022 with an entire contingency of white males on every festival lineup because they Columbused our music.
Ooh, that's a word. That's the word. And they're going to try to do this one.
And here we go. I mean, like we were mumbling about this before the show started. Now all these A&R people are going to go out there and find, you know,
the white
Braden, Jaden, and OK Dan, and have them in the studio, doing what we should be doing.
100%.
Is there what we should be doing?
One of the beautiful things about being Black is we know how to pivot.
We sure do.
So, you know, like the minute that something gets appropriated,
here we go again. Reinvent something else again.
Next. And so, like, I mean,
I'll be right back. He knows that Frankie is my cat, Frankie. He is screaming.
But no, you're right. We're good at pivoting, but sometimes it's just like, let us have some for a year at least. Shit. Let me get the Beyonce album and maybe a Rihanna album, and then Drake tried to give us an album. It was good.
Oh,
but then Beyonce came and said, "I did it better."
But okay, all I have to say about that is someone on Twitter said that Drake was trying to give us a house album, and then Beyonce goes, "Well, you gave us an apartment."
That took me out. I said, "Oh, y'all did him bad." But I actually like his album.
Me too.
I actually like his album. But you know, that's the
I do, but
it's a different kind of vibe, though. It's
not
like house.
I think, to be honest, I've never heard that man say that it was a house album. I've heard people describe it as a house album. So to be fair, it's not. I mean, it's not. I don't think he ever stated it would be a house album. I think he just said, "Oh, I'm trying to give you the sad bops with
more of a 4 and a 4
Black Coffee."
Yeah,
you know, I consider
love Black Coffee.
I do too. So I get that. I would not call that a house album. I would not call that a club album. I would call it an album of 125 beat per minute.
Yeah,
maybe after hours. Maybe when you're at home after the club and you're just trying to come down.
It's the come down.
It's got that weekend vibe to me.
Right. It's like the come down. Or you're like, I was out. I'm trying to, mellow it out a little bit, but I still.
House to me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I
don't know if I can listen to Drake.
Take the words out that whole same kind of.
Well, maybe he can. Album. Maybe he can put the instrumental out there just for that.
That's what it sounds like.
Like it gave me a whole vibe, and it just, I don't know. The thing that I liked about it was that, kind of like what you're saying, Corey, was the coming. I felt like very chill. Like I felt like I could just sit there and vibe. Like at a party.
Or just like your own playlist for when you want to hear something.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a whole series out there. I think they've started it up again called Back to Mine, and it was what it is they would pick a DJ and say, okay, give me a playlist of what you listen to when you're at home and you're not getting ready for a gig, or when you get home from a gig. And it's totally different. It's more chill house or more down tempo. And that's what I think what Drake was trying to do. And the other meme that got me was there was a picture of Drake on the phone. He was like, you told me you were gonna wait until my album cooled off. And then Beyonce goes, I did.
I saw one that said not Drake with his ear to the wall while Beyonce in the studio though.
I saw that one, but it was what's her name? Oh God, she was in The Help. She was the one that made the chocolate pie.
Octavia Spencer.
It was Octavia Spencer in that movie where she was like the neighbor and she was listening to the
with the kids in the background.
Yeah.
Funny. But again, it just showed, if people want to call Drake's album a house album, if you look at the list of producers, the producers are not house people, not part of the scene, ain't got no gay friends, nothing. They were like hip hop producers trying to do more for like beats.
I need to tap in on that because I said to a few friends of mine, I said, if Drake wasn't surrounded by a bunch of straight men who were scared to sound too faggoty on an album, he probably would have been neck and neck with her right now.
Exactly.
But those producers were like, let me think about that one time. Let me think about that one time I went with my girlfriend to her gay friends club, and this was what I remember.
Honestly, it's not that I don't like the album, but I could tell, listen to it, and then starting to look at the liner notes. I'm like, I know who these producers
are. These people ain't been.
They don't know. They either they know what it sounds like. They don't want to open themselves up.
They don't want to open up themselves. That's it. And
he got dragged regardless.
Y'all might as well let him.
The reality of it is that he got dragged. Even if he would have come out with a full-on house album, he would have got dragged by the community.
Right. What is this faggoty shit? What is this faggoty shit? I don't listen to this. I don't need this in the club. 100%. Now, I will say that I wish we could bring, I want to call it hip house back. Remember Queen Latifah?
Yeah.
When she had that whole series of they were house bops. I mean, MC Lyte had a house bop. And
that's what Heavy D was.
Right, Heavy D was house.
That's what Heavy D was.
We need to bring that back. I would love for Queen Latifah or someone like that to just come back with a full-on house album, like just house and rap back together the way they should be, the way we started it. Now,
did Beyonce give you everything you wanted though for a comeback single? Like, did it exceed your expectations? Was the expectations about maybe the same or what?
I will say that this song, as far as a comeback goes, it equates to me with all those what I call announcement tracks that Janet would do, like All For You, and you just like, okay, the bitch is back. So it makes me think, okay, if this is gagging everybody and this is just the first track,
honey,
game over. Game over.
Done.
And she's doing stuff with country. She's doing a lot of different things. Allegedly, there's actually 4 acts. Yeah. So
it's a wrap. Like, I mean, game over. Like, this is her world and we live in it.
Period.
Beyonce gonna get all the awards. Like,
well, and you know what?
Even if
she doesn't, she's not doing it for awards. She's doing it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I love about it is like you can tell she's also not doing stuff for the industry. Like this is for the listeners.
This is for the culture.
It's for the culture.
The closest she came to industry is when she did. When she did Fierce. No, I wouldn't say that. I would say.
Oh, I like 4.
I wouldn't say that. I would say when she did Telephone with Lady Gaga.
That was that whole era.
I think that was
I Am Sasha Fierce era.
That was, well, yeah. But I wouldn't say any part of Sasha Fierce tied into that. I would say that her way of wink nodding to kind of what corporate wanted to do or like a very commercial thing was doing that video with Lady Gaga for a Telephone. And like there was product placement all over that video.
Oh yeah.
She won't do that again. She'll wait till Pepsi pays her to do a commercial before she does that again.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but and maybe you'll see it after this episode if you go back and look. There's this weird chatter going on between people that are allegedly the old school DJs, basically discussing how they feel about Drake's album and Beyonce's album, and how we shouldn't be calling Drake's album house. It's this is big debate. And then there's a whole nother group of DJs that are like talking shit about the DJs that were back in the day, talking about their experiences and talking about their perspective on house music. And they're just like, oh, this old school attitude is just so negative. And I had to pray like 3 times today to not go on Facebook and remind these people that if their USB sticks weren't full of black music and these old school DJs, old school, I'm doing air quotes because it really felt like there was, when they say old school, they mean black.
Okay.
Because let's face it, the first people to play house music were black and they were considered old school. So I can tie the two things together. But they would be hard pressed to find anything on those USB sticks if we weren't where we were back then and made what we made. So let those people talk about house music the way they want to talk about it. Also, it's Black Music Month. If you don't listen to these black producers and these black artists any other time of this year, sit back and listen to them talk about house music. Sit back and let them talk about what we should be doing and their perspective on these albums. They have the right.
1000%.
But I'll say it. There was this white DJ who decided to have a problem and talk about all these old school DJs and say that they need to grow up. I'm like, this is real interesting that you say that, but you say it in a private chat. Like, you know how people can control who sees what they post, and it's just friends only. I'm like, okay,
but go viral,
right? I was like, use your words. If you said this with your full chest to a room full of your friends and to a room full of people that will say.
Are they saying? And I guess you said Drake. Are they saying that about Beyonce's?
Say their names. Damn. I mean, the shit's already out there. We ain't putting nobody on blast. I'm like, who the hell are we talking about? DJ Tiesto?
Okay, you'll probably you may not ever see this post because you're not a friend of his, but Barry Harris had, in my opinion, a little too much to say about the old school DJs and how they were debating about the Beyonce and Drake album. You don't need to insert yourself, sir. And furthermore, if it hadn't been for Deborah Cox, Whitney Houston, and some other people of color, who would you be?
Robin
no, he remixed like one of the best remixes in the world. It's Not Right, But It's Okay came from Thunderpuss. Yeah. So he's somebody we respect and revere in the DJ world. But stay in your lane, bro, because these are older DJs that were back in the day before you even probably knew what house music was, and here you are telling them how to speak about it. No, you don't get to do that.
Especially when, I go back to what I said earlier, the music was not created for you.
Exactly.
Honestly, and I know that's tough for a lot of white folks to hear because they try to take everything.
Well, we know
like,
that would explain why that would explain why that was a friends only post. But I'm like, next time, make sure that your DJs of color who don't agree with you aren't there, because like I said, I had to pray. I had to pray because I wanted to point out to him that these people have a right to have an opinion about house music, that the culture of house music that they helped create.
Yes. Versus
your contribution.
Right.
They're not coming for you about your contribution, so don't come for them about theirs.
That's a word. But I'm just glad that it's back, because like obviously we're gonna hear house music for the next probably 5 years.
But is it back?
Well, it never left. But I mean,
it never left.
Right, but I think it's gonna be that trend, kind of like a couple years ago when Dua Lipa and a whole bunch of artists brought back
more
like
disco
came back.
I get that.
I think we're gonna see more artists, like
1,000%.
in the industry.
Here's how you know it was back. Beyonce wouldn't have done this song if it was already popular. That's how you know. Beyonce's not gonna do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, she's not gonna. I give you that, but nothing about what house has been for the past 10 years has come from the brown folk. It's come from, I'm gonna say it this way. Stephanie Mills said she was on some show.
Drew, do you know who Stephanie Mills is?
Shut up.
Is that a no?
I know.
Well, I'll put it this way. Okay. Stephanie Mills pointed out, and she wasn't, I don't think throwing any shade at anybody, but she was saying they want the music, just not from us.
1,000%.
So she pointed out that they want it from Adele, they want it from Justin Timberlake, they want it from. We call
it the gentrification of R&B on this podcast.
And this shit has been going on for years.
For years.
This new Elvis documentary and everything that he done stole from us.
So. Right.
But here's the thing. I think we need to do better though of just enjoying the moment. We could argue all day who's in the house. It's a good ass song. Let's have some fun with it too.
I give it. I give you that
from us. Let's enjoy.
I give you that. But I give you that. But I also want to see not just us sampled, but us on the stage.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I want to see us not just sampled. I want to see us behind the bar as a bartender during these parties. Yeah. I want to see us on the box. Hell, put us on a poster.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing this. House is back. It never left. You just got lost.
Yeah.
The house was already here. You just got lost.
That is true.
So this should be a moment, in my opinion, where people, the DJs of color that are out there that have been playing this and just never stop playing it, get their due.
Yeah. That's
it never left. It never left.
That's a word. Oh, you're right.
It never left.
Right.
It's been here. You guys went off and veered off and went into EDM and all this other stuff, which has a place in music now. But house never left.
Ooh, I can't wait to see Dewan dance to it though. That's what I'm waiting. Oh, we all gonna be at Market Days. That's what I can't wait. All three of us dancing to this song together. That's what I can't wait for.
Well, I am scared though.
Why?
How
many times to play it?
Of me dancing?
No, not at all. No. What I'm scared of, and it's already starting to happen, is the circuit mixes of.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that version.
Child, they're already out. I'm reporting them. The minute I hear that shoe hit the dryer, I am.
You pushing that report button on IG? Copyright infringement.
Yep. Report. Hate crime.
No, I want this version. I want the backgrounds. I want the Freedia. And big up the Freedia though. We gotta big up Freedia right quick because
I love the fact that she brought Freedia back because I felt like Freedia just got a little taste, you know, on the first time around. And now she was a whole ass, not just a feature, but she was an integrated.
Because the original track is fire. Explode is fire.
But wasn't she also on a Drake track?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So both of them have brought her back. That's one thing I will give both of them credit for, because in a climate where there's all this stuff going on against the community, they weren't afraid to do it. They weren't afraid to bring her back. And I had one friend that was listening to the song, and he was like, "I like it, but who's this guy yelling in the background?" I'm like, "You need to learn who Big Freedia is and learn the back." He didn't know. He really didn't know.
So they have one of the most pronounced draws and tonations.
No, when Freedia on the track.
Like,
you already know. I honestly.
Good job, Dewan. Good job.
We see each other.
Right.
Seriously.
No. Yeah.
No. I was like,
I just don't think that he just genuinely, he wasn't annoyed by it. He was trying to understand it. And so I said, well, there's a music culture in New Orleans called bounce, and Big Freedia is big in that community, and that just tied in with the song. And I think this person actually went to find Big Freedia alone, so he could hear it and understand how, understand it.
Freedia, yeah. Like, this all wouldn't be the same without, like, it's so perfect. It's like all those parts needed to be together, and to, I mean, she did this for the gays. We all know. Like, I mean, she gave back the love of just the community that's really made Beyonce who Beyonce is.
Right.
So for her to give a love song, and like Dewan, I agree. If this is, or maybe Corey or everyone said it, this is just a smidge. She got some shit on this album that we about to like lose our shit, jump off the ceiling.
Because she's never an artist that the song that she released, that's it. Like, she's also that artist but there's shit that you won't hear on the radio, you won't hear at the club, but on the album, it's still good.
And Michelle commented on the post today too. She said, "Honey, prepare." And I was like, "Oh, girl, oh no, I can't."
Well, I would also say that she's really good about speaking up. Both her and Jay-Z they did the human rights campaign a couple of years ago, I think. They were awarded. They got an award, and the year before, Jay-Z's mom, who is lesbian, was given an award, and they did not hold back and they did not refuse to talk about Jay-Z's mother, and Beyonce talked about her uncle. Her uncle helped raise her and her sister, and he was in the HIV era, and she spoke of it. She spoke of it.
Us a love letter.
So I just think that you go back to that and you realize she couldn't leave that behind. She could not leave that behind when she came back. She had to say, nope, we got to speak up for everybody. It's time for us to all get back out there and go out again and somehow find a way to meld each other back into one big community. That's why I think there's a country element to this album. I don't know if it's its own little EP or if I don't know. People are giving me different information.
Nobody knows, it's Beyonce.
Well, people give me different information. But if there's really a country element to this album, I think that's another form of outreach.
Oh, 1,000. Because she already kind of gave us some on the last album. So
yeah,
she always has like a little moment where it's a little twangy. So she love her. I mean, it's Houston, Texas, rodeo and shit. So she can't help it.
And New Orleans, where Mama's from.
But yeah, like it at least gave me, I guess, back to that question, it gave me what it needed to be gave.
Like, I didn't
6:30 this morning, and I got through 95% of my workout on repeat to that one damn song. Okay.
Well, the fact that she released it early,
from the train to work and all the way back and all through work today. That's like the only song I listened to today.
She released it early too because someone had leaked part of it on Twitter. And so she said, okay, fine. I mean, I really feel like she was at home. The twins were in both arms. And she was like,
I was like, wait, hold on.
Right.
It's 10:30.
So I feel like what happened was she was at home. The twins were in her arms. God damn. So we put the twins down.
Right.
hit the title button and the YouTube button, pick the babies back up. I was like, who did it?
It's all on her laptop. Right. Nobody else got
their
phones.
Like the red button of war is the way she did it.
That forever MacBook. I'm like, B ain't letting shit out. But I mean, the pictures she's taking right now.
Yeah, from the British Vogue. Yes.
honey, this
I'm just ready for it. I'm just ready for all of it. I'm ready for, however she wants to bring it out, whatever pace she wants to bring it out. It gives us something
July
to
29th.
anticipate. It gives us something to anticipate does not involve this hearing or these people trying to fuck us over. We can concentrate on more than one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we have to remember. We are resilient, and we can concentrate on more than one thing. I can drag somebody for filth, make sure they go out and vote while I'm listening to a Beyonce bop. It's possible.
That's a word.
This is Beyonce didn't claim this summer.
Oh, honey.
Say that. This summer, it's the summer solstice. It's the equinox. Like literally from this point on, it's Beyonce.
You're right.
Because
community, every year we always get to this point in the summer. We're like, oh, what's gonna be the summer song? What's gonna be the summer? Ho,
Well, I will.
You already know.
Oh, baby.
I just want. Has anybody checked on Lizzo, because she was supposed to come out with something, and now I'm concerned.
I feel bad for Chloe. That's who I feel bad for.
Nah, I think there's room. And that's the thing.
This is all the resources over here on Beyonce.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Chloe's aligned with Beyonce, so Beyonce's not going to do what she's doing without knowing that she has a different laptop with the Chloe project on it.
Right.
Correct. Absolutely. She cashed it in both checks. And the thing is too, and I liked Chloe's new song "Surprise."
Surprise is great.
It's in a different lane.
Yes.
And for those, and this is the thing I kind of like. I love about Beyonce too, because her album's gonna be different. So there's gonna be hella black folks. And I've seen in the comments already, like, oh, I don't want house music. Like, I'm not feeling it. It's a no for me. I'll listen to
bye.
Right. But here's the but that's what I'm saying. But that lane that Chloe's in is gonna fill that same little gap that they were expecting from Beyonce.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be Chloe. And
who we feel sorry for too? Normani. Normani, you should have came out with the album when you had the little Aaliyah moment.
You should have came out with that 5 years ago.
But see, this is the other thing we have to stop doing, is saying that, like, mourning the loss of other artists. Because
I would still support them, but here's the thing. Here's the reality too.
There's a reality.
The black community is petty as hell.
We are petty crockers.
And here's the reality, that it's hard for them to appreciate multiple talented women at the same time, unfortunately.
Well,
I'm still listen to the damn albums. But Normani had a movement that just the groundswell that is Beyonce, it's hard sometimes for folks to look elsewhere at the same time. Even though
as far as we know, Normani may be on Beyonce's album.
Very well. I hope she is.
Mm-hmm. But here's another example of how all of this was strategic. I remember that Chloe was on her Twitter telling everybody that, okay, what do we want the next album single to be? What do we want the next single to be? And people voted for everything but Surprise. All Beyonce had to do was say, hey, Surprise is your next single.
Yeah.
And that was it. Mm-hmm. So she knew that Surprise would be completely different from what she's about to do. Mm-hmm. It would let both of them shine in their own lane.
Yeah.
And I don't put it past her to do that for these other girls that are coming up behind her. I can't imagine Beyonce singing Surprise. I think she's
been there, done that.
Right. But that's the thing. But that's the thing about Beyonce that some people in the black folks don't get, is they like to put her in just like that R&B, like rough side Beyonce, and they never really care for the pop, because I know tons of like black women and men in my family personally didn't fuck with Beyonce until she came out with Drunk in Love. And
1000%.
They weren't here for Single Ladies. They were not here for B-Day. They may have liked Ring the Alarm or Me, Myself, and I, because it was a fuck you nigga song, that they could get behind to. But other than that, they were not messing with her like that. And I feel like
you know who else went through that? Whitney. Because she was doing all these ballads and this, that, and the other, and the black community was booing her at the Soul Train Awards.
Queen of the Night,
and then she did Bodyguard. So that's the same playbook. Beyonce's like, stuff her. Like, I'm gonna do me.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, community, by this time on Monday, who knows? Because her publicist put Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday on her stories. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? So Tuesday's today that we're recording. What's coming Friday? Is it the video? I don't know. And then what's coming next Tuesday? I don't know. Is it going to be, maybe she's dropping 3 songs?
Tuesday's the album. Next Tuesday's the album.
No, it's July 29th is the album. So...
Yeah. Well, she likes to press buttons and instantly download stuff.
You never know. But I know we're getting towards the end. So all we talked about was Corey and Beyonce. We tried to give you the forewarning. That's all this episode going to be because that's all it needed to be.
Facts.
But Corey, where can they find you? Where are you DJing upcoming? So this episode will come out on Monday. Okay. So I know this weekend's New York Pride. So we'll kind of miss some of your gigs this weekend. But where else? Where's your residency? Where do you play mostly?
Well, and I'm basically in New York now. I'm just basically doing, I won't say just, I'm doing New York. I'm back. I took a break from the Eagle for the month of June because I just wanted to go reconnect with other promoters and other parties. I could never go to some of my friends' parties because we were always working. I couldn't see my friends because we were always working. So next week I start back with, I do my Fire Island gig. And then July 3rd, I do, I'm back at the Eagle. One of my favorite things to do at the Eagle is the beer blast on Sundays, like from 5 to 10. Everybody comes in after they've had time to let their food digest from brunch and change their whole mentality. And then they come to the Eagle and get put on that Dolce & Gabbana harness and come in fellowship with everybody. And then by 10 o'clock, they're either going to stay and do more, but it's still early enough where, people can still go home and start their week. And I love doing that. So for the next couple of months, that'll be what I'm doing. I'm also doing, in August, I'm going to Ontario, Canada. That's when their Pride is. And I've never been to Ontario, but they reached out to me and they were very aggressive about booking me for this. So I just signed for that. The rest of the summer is me, Fire Island, the Eagle, maybe some one-offs if they happen. I'm open to them. I've also been focusing a lot on production. My production name is choreography because I wanted to infer dance with what I do. So, and there's a guitarist from a group called Slipknot that his name is Corey Craig too. So when people would go to Twitter or not Instagram, when they would go to SoundCloud or Spotify and put my name in, there's just all this heavy metal and they're like,
I was about to say, like, from the metal group,
right?
Yeah,
that's the one.
So I had to find a different way to stand out. So I said, okay, well, the podcast is called Choreography. I'm using that name as my name for production and remixes. So when you look for me on any of these platforms for my original productions and my original work, look under Choreography. And one of my songs, just the remix package just came out the other day. I'm really proud of how that came out. One of the songs actually was remixed and it sounds a little bit like Break My Soul, but just by coincidence.
Yeah.
Right. And then I have a new song coming out next Tuesday. Got to put it out before Beyonce comes out because it'll be drowned.
There can be only one.
It's a little. I will say it's a little
record behind my back.
I will say it's a little different than a lot of the other things I've released because it's kind of more of a tropical house thing. I wanted to do something that you would listen to poolside and has that got a little Caribbean feel to it. Yes. It's cute, right? It's very melodic, and there's this male vocalist that I have no idea who did the vocals because I use this program called Splice, and these studio singers will go in and they'll just riff or they'll sing some lyrics and they're like, whatever you want to do with it. So I have no idea who this person is, but his voice is on point with the song. So I'm trying to balance that. I'm balancing coming back to the travel gigs and coming back to the gigs that I had here in the city and navigating Fire Island, along with still being a pharmacist, along with a radio show that I've started, along with production. So
he helps a lot of the Capitol crew too. You see
I'm like an ambassador for them. I just remember it's hard to believe that it was 2 years ago, like last week, when me and O'Day were packing up packages of the caftans from his living room. And I'd have to sneak across town because we weren't supposed to be out in the street. I was like, what is this, the 60s? And we would just listen to Jessie Ware and pack these caftans up, and I would see people I knew, and I would call them. This is Corey Craig calling from Cafco. Your caftan is on its way. You know, it was just fun. It was just fun, and to see how, you know, then I connect them with Billy Porter, and to see how that is just blown up. It's just,
I love the new Pride caftan. That's fire.
I haven't. I probably will do it now, but I usually, when I think long enough about that, and I think about how far they've come from the original, I do water up, because there's the middle of the damn pandemic, and how do you? I mean, that's the lemons to lemonade story of any that I would know.
Yeah.
That you could say, oh, these people are just going to be sitting at home. They're not going to want to dress up for work. Let's get them in this. I was like, I will wear this at home. And will, you know, and it's now.
I was going to say, I literally remember last summer when not last summer, 2 summers ago, like in June, being like, damn, we in the house, but I can't wait to go to Palm Springs and go by the beach. And I bought it in June when we were still locked up, had nowhere to go. But then we escaped to Palm Springs that October, and I was like, we need to get them on. We need to get them on. And I literally just put his DMs, and he was like, say less. I was like,
that is crazy. It's been damn near 2
years, so I will always really be proud of them and how that comes along for them, and be supportive, and they do the same for me. I mean, one of these days, maybe one of my songs will be part of their ad campaign. I'm not pushing it, because I know that different looks call for different sounds, but I look forward to something that we can all work on together. So
love that. Hey, Caftan or Cafco crew. Hey, O'Day. Hey, James. And what's your IG? Shout out your IG, and then we'll get out of here.
My IG is Corey Craig. This is very simple. CoreyCraig. I'm just starting my Twitter up because I got in a fight with some people and got suspended. So
you got that Henny spirit.
I had an Azalea Banks moment and got oof.
I know that's
so right. I'm starting that over.
Well, Corey, we wish you nothing but success.
Yeah.
Seriously, thank you for taking time to rock with us. We appreciate it. It was like last minute, I was like, that would be a good conversation because of the intersection again. So I'm glad you were able to fit us in your busy schedule and hop on here.
I was looking forward to this because you kept me from going out and probably making bad decisions. So I really, on a Tuesday night, I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, well, community, hopefully you're safe out there. Happy Pride. I mean, shit, it's about to be Pride the rest of the summer. Like Jawan said in the episode, we're going to be having glow sticks and everything for the next 6 months with this Beyonce album. So, shit, it's just a Pride year.
It's not going to be glow sticks. We're going to get those damn lightsabers because, we have to make sure we direct traffic.
I'm going to be double dutching and everything. I'm going to get everything.
Right.
So, community, be safe. Wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.